Good evening from the main street of Katoomba, which I believe is Katoomba Street. I should know. I've spent a lot of quality time just past the Target there. I think it's a Target. Well, it's Aldi. Target. No, wrong city. That's an Aldi. I'm thinking of Bateman's Bay. But we are in Katoomba Street, Katoomba, and the YHA is just past there, and on the other side of that is the police station, which have lovely coppers, can I tell you, because when I was up here back in start of February 2018, I had a little issue because I was staying for 5 days and I made friends with a couple of people. Leaf, if you're watching, g'day, how you going, mate? And I also met, yes I can, his name starts with T. And he doesn't have a Facebook page anymore. If he does, he's had to recreate it because he is what I call the smiling assassin. I made friends with him. We three of us drove out together to the lovely botanical gardens. Botanical gardens, which are over that way. Oh. And it was a strange day, and then I got to know, you spend a bit of time with somebody and you think they're okay, and I'm a bit of a Pollyanna. I just expect that people are good, and this guy is, look, I wouldn't say arsehole, because that's a bit inappropriate, but anyway, he turned nasty, all because I just tried to say, look mate, can you just go away, I've got some work to do. And then he turned really nasty. He started attacking my page. He started just really attacking my page. So first of all, I reported his review, which was 3 stars, and just he had no idea what he was doing. He liked to think of himself as a guru. He said, my page this, my followers this. His page, he had a personal profile, which he called this, that's right, Tony. And he's got some medical qualifications, as in not a doctor, but a, practitioner of sorts, and he also had some martial arts things. So he married up the martial arts, and that's a legitimate business thing to do, martial arts, and we'll call it massage. And cross-hatching like that is a really good thing to do. I talk about at Hazelbrook, there's a lovely place, I can't remember the name, but it's a bric-a-brac shop, like an antique, not bric-a-brac, that's not fair, an antique shop, and a certified training course provider. So you can go along there, get your antique, milk jug, and also go and get a cert for in whatever. More of your vocational stuff. So you probably get tickets and certificates and things that qualify you to wear one of these with a little card in it. So you can do that. Oh, you do not like wheelchairs, do you? It does not work. That guy came in when we were at the festival. Boris ran under the car. Thank God he had the harness on. He was skidded off. If he hadn't have had the harness on, he would have gone straight up to the fence, straight over the top, and then I would have come back, but still it would have been a bit of work to do there. So anyway, so this guy, he cross-hatched the martial arts and the massage, but then what you do with that on Facebook is you start up a page and then you have followers, and that gives you all sorts of permissions. But if you do it as a person, and Facebook's cracking down on it, if you're trying to run a business as a person, like a personal profile, Facebook will find you, somebody will report you, and it goes down. Now this guy went one step further. He started flaming my business, mentioning my business on his personal page, but the silly idiot made it all public. And he talked about how all his followers in Western Australia were wanting him back. And I looked at his posts and went, mate, you've got 1 or 2 people at most liking it, and one of them I can see is from overseas. So I can't see all these people in Western Australia that are asking you to come back. Anyway, after he'd been attacking me like that, that's Boris. Do you want to say good day to Boris?
Yeah, Boris. Yeah, we saw him earlier.
Oh, you did? You did. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so you could be anybody.
How old is he?
About 10 months.
Oh, is that still a baby?
But he's a street cat and he's a rescue cat, and he's just got a sort of a love for all sentient beings. He goes out the front of the place where I'm staying and talks with the birds. I was up at a place where they had peacocks, and the peacocks were sort of like this, going up, not getting, if they're upset they go, no, they were sort of doing this, and Boris flattened himself out as if to say, I'm no threat to you. So he just really just loves everybody, really.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Tell he's beautiful. He's got a lovely soul.
Yeah, if I see you tomorrow, I'll take a photo.
I'll do that. Yeah, we will be back tomorrow.
Okay.
See you later. Bye. And we've had that tonight times about, oh, God knows, 50 at least. Not many people have taken photos. A couple of people have. The guy at the Turkish place at Glenbrook did. Why don't you eat the... Oh, okay, well, let's go home in a catty bag. I've noticed that I'm slurring a little bit. Current blood alcohol level is 0.0. You don't want my cheese roll, do you? Do you? Don't think you'll like it, matey. You can try. I did this the other day as I was going out for a couple of hours just down to the shops, because it takes me a couple of hours to go down the shops. I left a pie that had cooled out in the front area where the alley cats, where the alley cats get out, where the alley cats hang around, and Boris sometimes hangs around with them, or doesn't hang around because they go carousing up and down the back streets of where we are in Western Sydney. So I left a pie, a generic brand, supermarket brand meat pie. So, meat pie, of course, having equal parts of pastry, meat, breadcrumbs and sawdust. Yours, come here. Come here. Eat your dinner. Got to be careful. Oh no, he's wrapped himself around, and that's good because he can't run out into the traffic if he so desires. He probably wouldn't, but he's in an unfamiliar place, so we watch that. Yep, so I left this pie out there, and I left it there for a while, and no one touched it because it was intact, and none of the cats touched it. So on my way out with my dirty old steel caps, I just went like this. So I left it smashed and open. And when I came back, I took a photo, but when I came back, that pie, every morsel of meat and sawdust and breadcrumbs and wood shavings had gone. They'd left every single scrap of pastry, because animals are much smarter than humans in that respect. They can't organise finance. They can't go on the internet and book tickets to Ed Sheeran. But what they can do is... No opposable thumbs. Do you need opposable thumbs to... No, of course you don't. You can type with two thumbs, but you don't need it. Son of a motherless goat. 7-second rule. But they're very much smarter. Oh, look, he's that's a service he provides. That is a service he provides. They can't do a lot of things that we can do. They can't go and get themselves into debt and need a Part 10 agreement to keep living without paying every single cent back to a debt recovery agency. But they can divine what's healthy for them and what's not. So meat, protein, gravy, all that good stuff left behind the pastry. The really fatty, high in salt, sugary, fluffy pastry. Go for broke if you love your pastries, for sure. But everything in balance. But these guys said, no, we'll just stick with the meat, thanks. And I noticed that I was slurring a little bit, and that's because I have 0 blood alcohol, but absolutely no fuel in my system. If I took my blood pressure now, it'd be on the low side of normal. You can watch Boris while I chew. So we've come up the mountain to suss out a house sit, and the guy is very happy for me to come up for a week in April after I do a house sit for some lovely people over in the Northern Beaches area. Thank God I set this week up, because this bloke in Canberra, who I call a friend, but let's call him an acquaintance really, he's a friend on Facebook. And if you think all your friends on Facebook are friends, they may be. Maybe that's the way that you operate your account. I see people who've got, 20, I was going to say only, but that's not right, who have 25 friends, or some people have 50. Now, all of those people may indeed be friends. Some people have fewer. I was about to say less, but I didn't. Anyway, an acquaintance of mine from Canberra was going to have me down, excuse me, and house sit for him from Easter to... Do you mind? Even though he did that, he's just got this amazing skill of not digging his... Not digging his fingernails in. His fingernails. His claws in. He's just a very loving little individual. Anyway, we're up to 12 minutes, so let's call that quits. We're up here at Blue Mountains. We've had a lovely evening. Didn't go into the festival. Just sat outside. Met a whole bunch of people. I saw Brent. Brent is currently a city councillor here in Katoomba. Or actually, not Katoomba itself. He's in what he calls the mid-mountains area. So a bit further down the mountain where we came up this afternoon. And Brent and I have a lovely little history which goes back to 2005, my very first National Folk Festival. And I'll tell that story very, very near to here in online land. But I'll keep my powder dry. Some of you know it. Christine Drummond, if you're watching, you know it, because you gave me a big hug afterwards. So the key words for when you're looking at that story are hugs, Newcastle, Blue Mountains, National Folk Festival 2005, and The World Turned Upside Down, which is a lovely song. The World Turned Upside Down. Colin Dryden, there you go, remember it now. Colin Dryden, I came to it via Billy Bragg. There's Bill Quinn saying, hooroo, good night from the main street of Katoomba, and more fun and games tomorrow, but just for a short time, not a long time. A good time, not a long time. Hooroo from BQ. Yin Buros.